I know actually are performing right now at Stanley's Pub. So for anyone listening in, thanks for not being at Stanley's and listening to us. But if you're ever interested in coming on the show, like even if you can't do it live, but you want to do a pre-recorded interview, like send us a message on Facebook. It's just 93.5 Watershed. Tweet me at Selena Pinto. We'd love to have you on. We love supporting local.
Yeah, well, that's the whole aim of the show. We try to get local artists in. That's the whole aim of the Watershed. Mm-hmm. So, check us out on our Facebook page. Get a hold of us either through some of the things you just talked about there, or
social media.
Social media, yeah. So we're going to throw on a song by the Frequency Jazz Collective now, and that was kind of loud.
Sorry.
It's all right.
My pen wasn't working.
So this is 93.5 Station on the Watershed, and this is Jazz Frequency Collective. Hey guys, welcome back to 93.5 CHMR The Watershed, and that was In a Mellow Tone by the Jazz Frequency Collective.
Hi. Sorry.
So yeah, we for the next hour, if you're just tuning in, this is 93.5 CHMR The Watershed, and I'm Travis Inkpen with my host Selena Pinto, and we're going to be playing some smooth jazz.
Hence why Travis has some glasses on, and I'm probably going to take a picture for later.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
So that was Jazz Frequency Collective In a Mellow Tone, live recording from them playing at the Annex, and apparently they play there every Thursday, so if you want to check them out, drop on down. So next we're going to go into an interview that we did with them yesterday afternoon, and yeah, so hope you guys enjoy, and thanks for listening. Okay, welcome back to 93.5 CHMR The Watershed with Travis Inkpen.
And Selena Pinto.
And joining us in the studio we have the Jazz Frequency Collective, so just get you guys to say your names and what you do, like your position in the band, I guess.
All right, I'm Mike Fleet, and then I play alto sax.
I'm Todd Reardon, and I play upright bass.
Steve Ash, I play guitar.
I'm Jenny, and I play trumpet.
Okay, awesome. So you guys are a jazz band. Is there a very vibrant jazz scene in St. John's? Is it very active, or?
Well, I guess there's a few venues. We've been operating out of the Annex for, the past
7 months.
7 or 8 months. Mm-hmm. And really nice venue. And there's a few other places around town. I think it's kind of a growing phenomenon.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Where's the Annex to? I gotta say, I haven't been there.
It's down on George Street on the corner of Mexicali Rosas. I think 32 George is the address.
Okay, cool. So who are you guys? Who is Jazz Frequency Collective? How'd you guys come into being, I guess?
Oh, God. I guess multiple incarnations.
Multiple incarnations.
Over the past few years, huh?
Steve and I played together for a couple of years. We were in a trio with a drummer who has since left St. John's. And then Steve and I played as a duo for a bunch of months and played coffee shops, this sort of thing. And then we got a collective, as it were, right? So we had horns and involved in the mix. So the current incarnation is probably 6 or 7 months we've been playing together.
Yeah,
as
about that.
Steve and I have been playing together for a couple of years for sure. So
yeah, and at least a solid year and a half on the windowsill of the Rocket.
The windowsill of the Rocket, fond memories of the windowsill of the Rocket.
Yeah.
Seems very classy.
What's that?
That seems very classy.
Yeah, it was pretty fun. It was when we played there weekly, and then it was hard to fit 4 people on the windowsill. So
Yeah. It's a good spot, though.
yeah, definitely. Yeah, pretty cool place.
So you guys have a show coming up on the 31st, is that right?
Mm-hmm.
Down at we're gonna be playing down at the Ship, starting at 10:30.
Oh, okay.
Is anyone else playing that night, or it's only you guys, or?
It's just us, as far as I can tell.
Well, and the drummer that's sitting in with us as well.
Oh, okay.
But there's no other acts that night, so I think people are just gonna come and.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Although it's also they have newfound music at the School of Music as well.
Oh, okay.
So there's a big concert and stuff before that.
That's exciting.
Mm-hmm.
So, what do you guys have for short-term plans? Do you plan on actually having a drummer? And I asked you guys earlier, about vocals or anything?
I I think ideally it would be nice to have a vocalist to come on maybe halfway through every set, something like that. But I personally would like to kind of keep it instrumental, kind of by and large, and just have the vocalist come on occasionally, that sort of thing. I don't know how you guys feel about
Well,
that.
it's another frontline lead instrument, right? So it's just another melodic piece, right? So vocals every now and then would be good to break up the tunes for sure.
Yeah, as far as the whole drummer situation goes, we've been on a bit of a roller coaster.
Yeah, it's been a bit interesting. We started off with one drummer who mysteriously dropped off the face of the earth, and then after that point, figuratively, yeah, we destroyed him. We started off, and we've been trying to find a drummer now for how long? Like 4 months.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, it's kind of ridiculous, but like it's been a lot of like we're interested, and then some people just kind of fade off. But now we're starting to like we have a guy who's an amazing drummer up for the ship, and then we got
Ian Grant.
Ian Grant,
the strap name.
Graduated from St. FX.
yeah, and then now we're gonna have a couple drummers coming on audition this Tuesday.
This Tuesday? Okay.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Yeah, so there's a few on the horizon. We are kind of looking to kind of fill a permanent position with someone.
Do you think you guys are having difficulties with that because it is jazz, and I guess drumming is... It's kind of hard to find a jazz drummer, I guess, in the city.
Yeah,
as opposed to just like a
it's-
rock or a general drummer.
Definitely, it's a pretty specific discipline. Like you almost want a dedicated jazz drummer.
Yeah.
And they tend to be rare.
And it's hard to fake jazz drumming.
I would imagine, yeah. Well, I mean, you kind of have like a jazz kit, right? Like you need a special drum kit for jazz if you're doing it strictly as jazz.
Well, yeah. I mean, like there are particular kits for jazz, but if a guy is a rock drummer and he says, "Oh, I'll just play some jazz," it'll be obvious.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Got to be able to swing and adjust time signatures, that kind of stuff, right? So it's
Manic dedication, I think, is kind of a...
mania is key.
Yeah, it's like a prerequisite, I think, to
Yeah.
jazz percussion.
Yeah.
So...
So, I mean, you guys are all pretty young from what I can tell anyway.
Thanks.
You're welcome. So what got you into jazz? I mean, jazz, traditionally people, when they think jazz, they think kind of, older, more...
Elevator.
Yeah, well, not that, kind of like a swing kind of club. There's clouds of smoke, everyone's kind of chilling. It's,
The fat cat.
the fat cat, yeah. So, I mean, I guess, what is it that got you guys into jazz as opposed to...
It's more fun.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Straight
I'm
up.
studying classically at school, and to get to play jazz and stuff every week is it's just completely different, and it's so much more interesting, in my opinion.
Okay.
Yeah, the spontaneous creation is kind of the main thing that drew me to it, just the improvisational aspects where, you're given an initial structure and just kind of told to, play within it or play outside of it. But the fact that you have to bring something of your own to it instead of just trying to faithfully replicate, something that's already been done, was always kind of the attraction for me.
Yeah, I've been playing bass for 15 or 20 years, and I've only been in jazz probably 5 or 6 years, I guess. I've always listened to jazz, but never really got into playing jazz as such, right? But just it's so much more involving as a musician. I mean, it's the chord changes are so much more complicated, and you really got to be listening to everybody else in the room, that is playing, right? So it's more, as cheesy as it sounds, more academic. There's more involved with playing it, and so it's really fun that way. And I've always listened to jazz, but playing it's pretty fun for sure.
So at your shows, do you guys have original material, or do you have inspirations that you play a lot of?
I think we kind of take on the fake it till you make it sort of philosophy, and we'll kind of wing our way through a few improvisations that don't really have any clear reference to any written standards, that sort of thing. We're in the process now of working on, I guess, maybe a dozen or so original tunes for recording, but they're still in the incubator, I guess, for the time being. But yeah, that is the next eventual step, I think. So we're kind of starting to exchange ideas and try and just sort of solidify, what we're working on.
Yeah, like hopefully by the 14th, on the 14th we're going to be playing down the ship again for a fundraiser. So hopefully by that point we'll have a couple of our own tunes to add into the set.
And it's Valentine's Day, so who doesn't want to listen to some romantic jazz on Valentine's Day?
Yeah, we'll make it extra schmaltzy, I guess.
What's the fundraiser for on the 14th?
The fundraiser, when we were approached about it, the fundraiser was originally for a play, but now it's for a mental health association. Like all the proceeds for it are going to go towards research for mental health, and all of the it's also partly to fundraise. I'm not sure if it's fundraising for it or not, but it's going towards helping with a play as well to raise awareness about mental health and fundraise for that.
Okay, cool.
It's awesome.
Okay.
So I know you touched on it, saying that jazz is kind of more, I guess, has an academic feel as opposed to other genres and stuff. And I know you actually said you're being classically trained. Do you think that kind of has an influence on you getting into this? So were you interested in jazz before?
Well, when I was younger, I started getting into jazz just off one of my music teachers was like, "Oh, play this instead," and I was like, "This is so awesome."
Yeah.
And it was something that when I was younger that people would actually want to listen to, as opposed to being like, "Oh yeah, okay, that's nice." And especially when you're like starting out and you're still kind of an awful player. But so that had a huge aspects to it. And then I got into high school, and it was like I started learning about all these different styles and stuff. So it was like Latin and like funk and all these other kinds of things. And I went on tour for a week with a Latin jazz band, and it was amazing. And then it was just like that was what I wanted to kind of replicate over here. And then, of course, becoming old enough to like go actually play in bars and whatnot. It was like that was what I wanted to get into. So when I found these guys, it was just perfect.
So how did you get into that? That seems like a pretty great opportunity to travel with a...
Well, they have like these programs and stuff in Nova Scotia where it's like you go away for 3 weekends of the year and you play in like these different jazz bands and they have different levels and you have to audition and all this stuff. And what they did is they went on a week-long tour and they played at all of the elementary and junior highs and a couple other like venues. And it was like to raise interest in jazz music and the music programs in general around the Halifax kind of area.
Okay, so you're from Halifax, is it? Or?
I'm actually from Pictou County, Nova Scotia.
Okay, nice.
Big jazz scene in Pictou County.
Just going back to an earlier question. I know, Mike, you're relatively young, so I mean, we all kind of went into what brought us into jazz. You didn't get a chance to answer, so I mean, I guess, did you find it in high school, or was it something from your childhood? Or?
Well, actually, saxophone was my first instrument. I felt like if I didn't go towards jazz, I'd be struck down by some weird sax gods. So, what are you doing? Why aren't you playing jazz? So, but my dad was always like, he was really interested in jazz, and like his taste in music anyway was just insane. But he started introducing me to some, the classic jazz stuff and like, the big band swing. And then so I started listening to that when I was in like some of it, in junior high school. And then started playing more and more of it as I went to lessons and started learning more towards how to improvise and how to play, with different tones and how to really expand on it. So after that point, last year, when I was playing, then I got introduced to Steve, and then he introduced me to playing in the band.
Hi.
And that guy over there. Anyways, so after after playing in the band, then it really accelerates just how much you listen to jazz, how much you get into it. So, for example, like if I had to compare myself from now to 8 months ago on how much I listen to jazz and how much more I appreciate it, it's there is really no comparison. So,
Okay.
yeah.
So, I mean, you guys said the jazz scene is kind of a work in progress in St. John's. Are there any big players that you kind of want to play with, or that you see, or go to shows regularly? Is it like...
Well, I mean, there's a few pretty notable names around town.
Yeah.
Jenny, you want to start this off? Actually, Alex McNeil, we heard not too long ago.
Yeah,
and,
Alex McNeil. He's also from Pictou County, ironically, and he's pretty in the scene over here. He writes a lot of original stuff and arranges a lot of the standard tunes, and he plays. We saw him play at the Grapevine, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. And he was playing with Andrew McCarthy, another big name, and Chris Davis. So yeah.
Yeah, and I guess Brad Jeffords a pretty big fixture around the city as well. I mean, if there's anyone that's I guess been kind of like publicly carrying the jazz torch for the last while, I think Jefford would definitely sort of qualify.
They play Wednesday too.
Yeah. He's got a bi-weekly gig at the Rose, I believe. Still, yeah. And any other names you guys would want to mention there as far as the jazz scene goes?
Other than that, like when you were just mentioning those other guys and Brad Jeffords, I'm drawing on blanks right now.
Well, a lot of the jazz that we play, I mean, we play jazz standards, but we play a lot of bluesy-ish numbers too. So I mean, a lot of the jazz blues kind of bleeds over, right? So a lot of tunes that we play are jazzy, like by jazz guys, but they're 12-bar blues in a lot of cases, right? So it's a lot of the blues artists here can easily be jazzy depending on what your perspective is, right? So
yeah, I think maybe one of the challenges of having a jazz group is that it's such a large encompassing term that it conjures so many different images in kind of everyone's minds when they hear it. I mean, they could think of like swing era or bebop or avant-garde or whatever, and I think a lot of what we've been trying to do is sort of balance that sort of academic approach with something that's more visceral, that anyone can just sort of walk in and start enjoying without a lot of sort of prerequisites.
The 5 B's of jazz.
Yeah.
TM.
Well, thank you guys so much for coming in. So what were the important dates again?
You guys are playing a show 31st at the Ship, correct? That's a Thursday.
yeah, 10:30, $5 at the door. Sorry,
Okay.
10:30.
And then the fundraiser on the 14th. Is there any cover for that, or is that like donation?
I'm not really sure. To be honest, I'm not really sure if it's going to be covered or not. Like maybe it's a $5 cover, but I can't really say. We're just playing it.
Bring
We're
money
just
to donate.
Okay, and do you guys have a like a Facebook page? I know you have a SoundCloud page. Which
Yeah, and we do have a group as well.
Yeah, on Facebook you can check us out at the Frequency Jazz Collective.
And so I guess aside from the 31st and the 14th, we play at the Annex every Thursday. This upcoming Thursday, while we're at the Ship, Sean Butler, we basically kind of share bass duties between Tiber and Sean. He'll be playing at the Annex, I believe, starting at roughly 7 or 7:30 with Sam Westcott as a duo. So if anyone wants to go and check that out before the start of our show, by all means.
Very cool.
Yeah.
So I guess if you're looking for jazz, hit up the Annex.
Yeah, it's a great place, and Art and Scott down there are doing an amazing job. Really nice atmosphere, good food.
The food's really good.
Yeah, it is. So check it out.
Awesome. Okay, well, thanks for
Thanks,
coming in
guys.
so much, guys.
Well, thanks for having us.
Thanks.
Yep, thanks.